Let's talk about vitamin D for a minute. How many of you in this audience actually know your vitamin D levels? Oh, quite a few of you. How many of you have got estrogen? How many of you got vitamin D levels above 100 in UK units? A few of you. Good. Right. So you ladies are in the protective against cancer zone. If your level is not above 100, and I'll show you a slide in a minute, we can't guarantee that's protecting against cancers, and I'll show you that. So vitamin D is very important to breasts, and here are some of the studies. Both observational studies in humans and animal models support that vitamin D has a beneficial role in cancer prevention and survival. Breast cancer is more common in women with low vitamin D levels. Low levels of vitamin D are associated with more aggressive tumors. All right? What about this study published from Crichton University in 2007? Women who were age 55, over age 55, I beg your pardon, took just 1,100 units of vitamin D. Now, I would say that's still, in my book, a relatively low dose. I routinely recommend that people take 4,000 to 5,000 units of vitamin D a day with vitamin K2. You must take it with K2, otherwise you end up getting rogue calcification, i.e. calcium deposited where it shouldn't be, lining the arteries or kidney stones. That's not where you want your calcium, you want it in your bones, right? So taking it with K2 means you get bone mineral deposition of calcium and nowhere else. So, followed for 4 years, had highly statistically significant 75% reduction in breast cancer diagnosed after the first 12 months compared with women who took a placebo. Wow! That's a fact that women should know. That by taking vitamin D in decent doses, you're going to protect your breasts. I think women should know that, don't you? What about this? Studies at St. George's Hospital in London show women with low levels of vitamin D in their breast tissue have 4.5 times the breast cancer risk. It's critical that women know this. But people are still, and doctors are still talking about vitamin D as if it only applies to bone health. Not at all. Another study showed that the lower blood levels of vitamin D, the more dense, i.e. more dangerous the breast tissue. So actually low vitamin D is associated with denser breast tissue, which we know is an increased risk. And this is the study published last year, April 2016, looking at not just breast cancer, but the incidence of cancer plotted against doses of vitamin D. Now what you want to see, this line here is where there are low levels of cancer. But you note that you only get to that when your levels are approaching this, right? You follow that? Now that level is equivalent to about 100, 120 in UK units. What is the normal range in the UK? It's 50 to 200. So you see, you could go and see your GP and have a level of 60, and that's passed off as normal. Is that wrong? No, it's correct. You're in the normal range, but you're not in the range that's going to protect you against cancers. You see the problem there is many people are being passed off with normal vitamin Ds that are not optimal and not cancer protective. But people who come to me don't get out of the door, number one, without having their vitamin D checked, and number two, if they're interested in their breast health, if they don't have a level above 100, I make sure they subsequently do for that reason, okay? Vitamin D, well, how is it working? Interestingly, look, and I haven't got time to dwell on this, the mechanism of action, well, it has a role in regulating cell growth and differentiation. Differentiation is really a process that tells a cell what it's supposed to be, right? So that a breast tissue cell remains a breast tissue cell, that a liver cell remains a liver, etc. It stops the growth of new blood vessels, that could be important. Significant anti-inflammatory effects of vitamin D. It activates genes responsible for programmed cell death, in other words, tells cells when to die. That might be important in turning off cancer cells. It is also able to activate cell differentiation, keeping cells regulated and well behaved. We now know that vitamin D, we think, regulates approximately between 2,000 and 3,000 different genes in the body. Just think back to what we said about Angelina Jolie and genetic risk, that vitamin D regulates 2,000 to 3,000 of our 25,000 genes. It might be important. Any of you want to read more about this? Ask one of my staff. Happily send you this PDF, and I wrote that some years ago. Vitamin D, an underestimated ally.